Anger, forgiveness, and healing. Anger is the aftermath of violent crime, painful abuse, dishonesty, along with other types of negative experiences. Individuals who have been hurt, betrayed, and abused have the right to be angry and resentful. These are normal reactions and emotions when feeling the crushed feeling that comes from being disrespected or abused. If not dealt with, such angry reactions can damage personal health on several levels. These include killer cell cytotoxicity, autoimmune suppression, disruption of personal relationships, acute coronary syndrome, and consequently increased mortality. The Chinese philosopher Confucius tells us, before you embark on a journey of revenge, dig 2 graves. One grave would be for the one you hate and the other for yourself. Anger weakens a man and puts him at a disadvantage in every undertaking in life. When Sinbad and his sailors landed on a tropical island, they saw high up in the trees coconuts which could quench their thirst and satisfy their hunger. The coconuts were far above the reach of Sinbad and the sailors, but in the branches of the trees were monkeys. Sinbad and his men began to throw sticks and stones at them. Angered, the monkeys began to throw coconuts at their persecutors, the men on the ground. That was just what Sinbad and his men wanted. They were able to anger the monkeys, and as a result they were able to get the monies to do what they wanted. That is a good illustration of how becoming angry causes us to play into the hands of our foes. Clearly, the anger of the monkeys didn't hurt Sinbad or his men, but did cause an increased level of stress to come into the lives of the monkeys. Freeing yourself of anger involves forgiveness, and as a result of you forgiving, your tormentor's healing will naturally follow, because you will be able to set aside your anger, and return to a joyful life. To err is human, to forgive, divine. Alexander Pope, 1688–1744. A South African woman stood in an emotionally charged courtroom listening to white police officers acknowledge the atrocities they had perpetrated in the name of apartheid. Apartheid was a policy of segregation and political and economic discrimination against non-European groups as the Republic of South Africa. Officer Van den Broek acknowledged his responsibility in the death of her son. Along with others, he had shot her 18-year-old son at point-blank range. He and the others celebrated while they burned his body, turning it over on the fire until it was ashes. 8 years later, he and others arrived to seize her husband. Hours later, he came to get the woman. He took her to the woodpile where her husband lay bound. She was forced to watch as they poured gasoline over his body and ignited the flames that consumed his body. The last words her husband said were, "Forgive them." Now Van den Broek stood waiting judgment. South Africa's Truth and Reconciliation Commission asked the woman what she wanted. 3 things, she said. I want Mr. Van den Broek to take me to the place where they burned my husband's body. I would like to gather up the dust and give him a decent burial. Second, Mr. Van den Broek took all my family away from me, and I still have a lot of love to give. Twice a month, I would like him to come to the ghetto and spend a day with me so I can be a mother to him. Third, I would like Mr. Van den Broek to know that he is forgiven by God and that I forgive him too. I would like someone to lead me to where he is seated so I can embrace him and he can know my forgiveness is real. As the elderly woman was led across the courtroom, Van den Broek fainted. Someone began singing Amazing Grace. Gradually everyone joined in. Instead of allowing her anger to consume her life, she found healing through forgiveness. The cure for anger therefore is forgiveness, and forgiveness will naturally lead to healing and the restoration of your friendship with God. Forget the mistakes of the past and press on to the greater achievements of the future. Give everyone a smile. Spend so much time improving yourself that you have no time left to criticize others. Be too big for worry and too noble for anger. Norman Vincent Peale. Want to live a long, happy life? Forgive the unforgivable. It really is the kindest thing you can do for yourself. Your enemy may not deserve to be forgiven for all the pain and sadness and suffering purposefully inflicted on your life, but you deserve to be free of this evil. As someone once said, hate is like an acid. It damages the vessel in which it is stored, and if allowed to remain in the vessel, it will self-destruct.